The DreamHack Master Spring 2020 is delivering in spades, and so are G2, who somehow, someway, take down Astralis on map number 1 of the day for this series. Dust2 going over there towards the French side, and of course it's Omnic to deal a lot of damage, and really going to be one of our focal points as we begin to get vocal about things here on our analyst desk. Again, this is DreamHack Master Spring 2020, and I'm not alone. I've got Bleh, I've got Pimp with me, and we are ready to talk this one all the way through into the ground. But before we go any further, Jacob, I heard you had a good joke about Harry. What was it?
No, Trace. I'm gonna tell him privately because I don't think that's appropriate for the broadcast. So I'm gonna take this one out and leave it out. I don't want to be portrayed as being a toxic dude.
And you wouldn't want to do that. You're not a toxic guy, even at your very core. Even though sometimes you kind of have the essence, the smell of a rotten apple. I just know that that's not you, Jacob. Now, what we can do is kind of look at the rottenness that has came around the Astralis way. How they get 13 rounds. Where's G2 at? What's happened here, Bleh?
G2 happened. They woke up. I'm going to give credit for that T side. That was pretty impressive stuff. Astralis could not handle the mid to B take. There were variations of that. They were overthinking things. They were over-rotating at times. They didn't know how to handle it, especially when they got that mid control. Pimp, you noticed that as well. And they had a player dropping down from CD spawn. Yes, they didn't work on a pistol round because Dupree had that insane 4K at mid. But apart from that, it did work out a couple of times. They kept mixing it up. And then Amanek, man, he had so many cool moments. And 16-13, bear in mind, there were 5 clutches there. I think 3 of the clutches actually went the way. 2 went the way of Astralis and 3 went the way of G2. It was a very close affair, but G2, got to give them credit. In the final half there, they managed to really step it up.
And Jacob, I could just tell you're right on the edge of saying something. So what is it? Tell us.
No, I definitely agree. I just want to give our casters a little compliment here because I think Harry or Hugo, to me, they're one and the same, honestly, said something pretty smart right there. They said that Astralis right now, they're focusing on getting the individuals fired up and maybe not so much on being, the powerhouse of the strats that Astralis used to be. And I think we saw the direct consequence of that right here in the game. Device had a great individual game. Dupree had a great individual game. We even saw Yuki have some nice scenes as well. It was not Astralis not playing well. It was just them not approaching the game the same way they used to do when Glaive was the in-game leader. Also, as Bruce said, G2 played one hell of a game. Despite having this ace, having this performance, that's always great, and that should be enough for Astralis, but this was a very, very messy game. A lot of anti-equals won, and I think this is the direct consequence of Astralis focusing more on the individuals than focusing on the big T.
Which is an interesting talking point altogether, especially when we consider Nuke being the next map of this series. That is the pick of Astralis. Now, we talked a little bit about the picks and bans prior to the game starting. We were kind of looking at this and saying, okay, well, where's Train at? Train could slot right in there, but instead we get Nuke and then Vertigo. So let's talk a little bit about Nuke, Bleh.
Yeah, looking at Nuke, I mean, if you look at all the 3 maps, and I think it was a win condition for G2 to even get to the 3rd map, they needed to take Dust2, right? So that's one win condition met. But then you look at Nuke and Vertigo, Astralis going to be feeling very comfortable. The problem right now for Astralis are they're playing G2's game, at least on Dust2. It is a map which can get a little puggy, can get a little scrimmy. And like Pim, you just mentioned, and I think it was Hugo who mentioned that Astralis are playing a much more individualistic game right now, which is something that G2 are like. That's their style of play, and that's working out for them, which is why I think they got the edge on Dust2. Going into Nuke and Vertigo, I think despite the fact that Astralis looked a little loosey-goosey on Dust2, I think the protocols are too much for G2 to handle on both those maps. I still believe Astralis is going to take.
Just a quick note before we go to a break here, Trace. This is the first time we're going to see Astralis play with Yuki on the map of Nuke. And Nuke is a map where communication is important, rotations is important, and team play is important. If Astralis don't fix that, if they don't step it up like we saw in Dust2 right here, I could see G2 potentially pressure Astralis. Let's not forget, Astralis still the favorites. They should be winning. But G2, they're playing well. So as we said in the pregame, this could be a close one.
Yeah, in the not so distant past, this map was really kind of a staple of what Astralis was doing within their project. We're looking at a Nuke that used to be their stomping grounds. Do we feel that solid about them here?
I don't. Would you get in the lineup? I think it could be a close one. But that being said, he has been playing well so far, so let's see.
Let's see. And honestly, you missed the best punchline of the day. It was brought to you by Harry Russell. It was a joke about him not being able to read at age 16, which I thought went under the radar, and I just think that it just needed a little bit of appreciation. As we head into this break, we get to come back with the culmination, potentially, if G2 could put the 2nd map away, or we will go all 3. We're going to be going into Nuke when we come back, so make sure you're here with us at the DreamHack Master Spring 2020, y'all.
Wow, well, do we have any Counter-Strike fans in the house tonight? It certainly feels like we might. Hugo, you put your hand up. Would you consider yourself a CS fan?
Yeah, you know, it's all right. It's okay. It's pretty cool.
Right, yeah.
Counter-Strike, you know,
all right.
it'll do.
So yeah, Hugo, we got a good matchup on our hand. G2 taking on Astralis. We just saw G2 pick up Dust 2, obviously their map pick in this series, winning it uncharacteristically so. And now we head to Nuke. This is famously a Danish map. This is famously the OG stomping ground of Astralis. And you can see these Betway odds. They're actually painting a picture that G2 are coming into this as the favorite.
No, even after winning that map, I don't know about that one. I'd be impressed if they could do it, but looking at the maps of Nuke and Vertigo, even with Astralis not having glaive here, you would like to think that they have the grit and the determination and the individuals to take us through. We'll have to see though, Harry. No more speculation. Device is walking through a main smoke. Nexus on the other side, and in the wrong way. He's gone outside. He's got a swap. Going to go back in. Device getting hounded. Nexer in the backline does get traded by Magisk, who is a second through that smoke, but in the midst of the madness, it's G2 finding every kill. Magisk does get one. Dupree's dropped B with the bomb, and Magisk is on a tear, finally put to rest, and Dupree will plant, but there's a player hunting him down. Amanek is not waiting around, and maybe he should have. Dupree with a chance to kill him, but no, the backline has Jax, and he is quick to the B-bomb site. G2 find the pistol round, and they set themselves up on this CT side.
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win.
Yeah, look at it continue in their stride, right? With a victory on Dust already under their belt, the momentum maybe leaning in favor of G2 in the beginning. And with this pistol round going their way, if they're able to get off to a good start, we could see that continue here on the realms of Nuke. It's just going to be pistols here for Astralis, with the emphasis on a buy in the follow-up round.
Nexus is going to hit all of this. Astralis aren't being quiet about their running towards Secret, so Kenny's come on rotation to try and stop them getting down B, but wow, what a shot from Yuki. Zip does follow, Nexus falling as well, and oh, it looks like it could get out of hand, but G2 do manage to put it under lock and key, 2-0 lead, and the Ecos make quick work of. Couple of kills though, that's certainly going to make this buy a little bit prettier for Astralis, and they've got full AKs anyway. Not even really a bonus round, because G2, they lost the SMGs in the last, and they've got full rifles here, including FAMAS's. Astralis go back to Yard, though, with one man in the lobby.
Oh, and with these outside smokes, Magisk does cross and get down towards B. Two sets of rotations have come down for G2, but Astralis, they've done this all as a bit of a ruse, and they actually have their eyes set over here towards Heaven and Hell. Amanek has just dropped down, and this has given Astralis a way in. This could actually get a little bit risky now. They lose any info outside. Kenny's not even considering this wrap. And that's Kenny removed. Ramp now belongs to Astralis, and this rotation from Amanek out of Heaven couldn't have come at a worse time. Jax didn't even really seem like he knew where he should be looking there, as he's got a lot of angles to bear in mind. This B site belongs to Astralis, and in a very big way. Hunter and Amanek on for the retake, but they're 2-on-4. Their backs are against the wall, and a bomb is now down for Astralis as well.
Yeah, they just run down the vent and do at least kill Magisk and get guns, but past that point, they can't stop the plant, and Astralis is holding on to Secret. Amanek, well, he doesn't survive the round, and Dupree will find 3 in it, so great work from him with the entries. Astralis getting on the board nice and early in this game, not letting G2 make a bit of a streak happen. And the important factor is, with Astralis winning their first rifle round, because G2 had to spend money on reinvestments coming into that round, well, they can't fully afford, and they've got to force, as a solo M4 is all they've got to work with alongside the auto shotgun on Jax. Astralis putting the standard pressure on towards a molly in main. Nade in the door. Just trying to keep Kenny late to this position. Astralis throwing more outside smokes. They're just going to default to this every round because it's so effective at getting control. Even if you don't commit behind it, you can just send one player there, and Magisk can be so useful here. Looking towards Secret, trying to spot one of these G2 players poking their head out top, but Hunter's pushed back by the Molotov. Meanwhile, an A take. Pistols out for G2, and there's not many of them in play. Only one man on the A site, and he's been removed very early. Hunter drops that lurk outside, but G2 have already lost top, and they've got to come in for a retake with no kit, and only just starting to retrieve weapons. Kenny grabs that gun from Magist, and let's see if G2 attempt it in.
Oh, Zipnix up on top of the hut, laying down the pain, helped out by Dupree. This one's not going to go amiss for Astralis. It's another round up on the board, and another one where only 2 players survive for G2. Now, that's a little bit awkward. Oh dear, Hunter. He doesn't get away. Yugi also up on T-Roof alongside Dupree. These two, man, I feel like I'm always seeing Dupree and Yugi together. I feel like Dupree's been like left in charge of it. Even thinking back to that little photo shoot with the... Well, I think it was like the Crown Prince of Denmark hanging out with Astralis. It was Dupree and Yugi. So both in and out of the server, Hugo. They're looking like good buddies.
You'd love
that's
to see
going to help.
Brothers in arms. And well, you need a good rapport if you want to play at the top level with each other, that is. Teamwork is a must in the Astralis camp. And they have mustered more of that. 2-2 right now. They've broken G2 with just that saved AK. Gonna try and contact walk ramp with some of these P2Ks, but yeah, Astralis are ready for this. They are waiting in the wings. Device flashed out, has to shoot, but can't control. He doesn't know where they are. He doesn't know where he is. The Pistols have somehow found a couple of kills, but Zip with a spray to save the day. 3 from him. Dupree dinked, and so is Kenny. Tagged down to 20. This is a mess. Dupree's going to get out of there with a bomb. He'll have to go back towards spawn. Luckily, there's no issue with time. Let me just work a pick here, and maybe Astralis can close this round, but G2 have disappeared.
I love this call from Dupree, falling back into T-spawn of all places, right? I think Amanek is going to start to consider that he's wrapping outside, and that is not the case. Dupree is actually hidden right here under Amanek's nose, but Amanek is playing this in a good spot as well. I don't know if Dupree is going to swing wide enough to check this, and he's not going to. So the bomb is now dropped. Magisk is coming in on a lobby wrap. And Amanek waiting. Oh, this is the grossest position ever. No one ever checks it. No one's ever ready. And G2 with only pistols to their name. They find that round. They get a third on the board with the lobby crunch. It's a bit of a classic. And you thought Zipnix had done enough with this stellar spray transfer, but no, not quite.
Yeah, G2, what a massive eco round. How the hell do they do it, Harry? I don't understand how G2 so consistently win these eco rounds with nothing. They did it multiple times back on Dust 2. Their first 2 rounds were, or 2 rounds that weren't separated, at least on CT side, Dust 2 were ecos in the same vein. So Astralis lose some money, but they will have a reinvestment. Device's orb gone immediately. Kenny is quick. He's not even looking at them, and he's still firing off kills. 4 for Kenny. Blink and you miss it. This round is done. Astralis, oh my. They're made to look like fools by Kenny S. And G2 just a kill away from a 4th round. There it is. It's the ace for Kenny with the AWP as well. He picks it up, and he knocks him down. Oh, vintage stuff. Wouldn't want it any other way. Look at this stuff from Kenny. Look at this second kill. Barely even looking at him. Is this going to happen, Harry? Are we in a world where G2 are going to 2-0 Astralis? Someone wake me up. Pinch me.
I mean, I just tried to, and you
yeah,
didn't respond well to it.
I don't want you touching me, Harry.
Let's see, man. He's pinching every penny in this round. He's got himself the AWP in hand, and he's out here outside looking to make a bit of a ruckus as Kenny S. Let's see. Kenny, give us something stylish again. I know asking for it back-to-back is a little bit cheeky, but they're only pistols in this one. And Kenny, second kill in the round. Come on, number 3. Oh, maybe not. Device with his deagle. Rings out a shot. There's the response from Hunter. He's not too thrilled about what Device's Deeg has brought to the table, and so Hunter gets it back under control. Zipex in a 1v4, probably just left to do the honorable thing here, and that is take that fight and go down fighting. 5th on the board now for G2, 5-2 up, reinvestment on the cards for Astralis, but this is already a great start. from the G2 squad.
Yeah, and if you think about how much Astralis default to outside control, right, and love to take, you know, the yard with this deep main smokes and garage smokes that lets you cross really wherever you want in the yard. Well, Kenny is firing off with the AWP, and if he continues in this position, Astralis is going to have a really tough time getting it done. So nice to see Kenny certainly feeling it. But next is in the garage, back to a more standard setup now for G2. They don't often run the AWP outside. They like to put Kenny in on the ramp a lot. Right now he's on lower, so interesting change here for G2. He watches events for some time. He's checking to see if Astralis have gotten anyone through that main smoke. You can see there's no main player in this round, and G2 gambling with 2 on the A site. Kenny has moved from B to Secret. He can stop this outside path here as Astralis try to cross. Secret Molotov and smokes wide again means Nexa can fight once the garage one is faded. He doesn't need to fight though. He's more about getting information from this position, coming whether Astralis have control of main or can get towards Hell. So he's just going to tuck in and look to be annoying, be a nuisance in the backline as he smokes fade.
Oh, that's the bomb dropped by Nexa. He gets the info that it's out here in garage. Dupree, while he does trade it, he is now stuck in the garage. And with only 1 smoke to get him out of this position, there is some potential danger lurking around the corner. And that danger is from this man, Kenny. With this AWP coming up through Secret, he hears players scoping on in. He knows that they're here somewhere, and there is a man holding on to this position. That man is Yugi. The rest of Astralis getting up into heaven, and we've seen this work for them before. There's a double CT vent set up with Kenny ready to rotate up as well. This is an interesting little layout from G2, but they are more than ready for this heaven split. They are so primed, so ready to go. And Amanek takes matters into his own hands. My goodness, the double CT vent stack of him and Hunter nets all the kills needed in that round there. And G2, I mean, you know, when we saw Astralis attempt that heaven play initially, they weren't ready for it. You know, the first time we saw Astralis bring that out, if you remember, Amanek dropped out of heaven, they conceded the control, Astralis ended up wrapping into ramp, and then they took the round. This time, though, they are so ready, they know what's going on. Amanek does rotate out of heaven, but it's to set up double at the CT vent and to just hold for that split play into the A bomb site. That was a great read from G2 and a great adjustment to something that they weren't ready for just rounds ago. So some problems, some cracks now starting to show for Astralis.
Definitely, I definitely agree. I think, you know, when Astralis are going for that outside wrap to heaven, it was so telegraphed, right? The players who are climbing outside, when you climb that heaven building and you don't take the ladder, you want to be quiet, right? You don't want a hell player or a ramp player or even an A player to hear you. So you're meant to be silent, but they were very loud. They were not hiding that. And because Jax had Hell, he's coming that information to G2. The rotation we get there is Kenny coming up the vents. And even though he doesn't provide a whole lot, just him being in the site was another man that Astralis had to deal with. While they focus on him, with that double CT vent setup, it wreaks havoc. And G2 knew the lobby was clear. That's the only way they could have afforded to run that. Otherwise, a molly could have killed both CT players. Kenny, come on, man. That's a smoke. You can't see through smokes. You don't know they're there. Stop shooting them. Leave them alone.
Well, Yugi up on top of red. It's just him and Zipnix left, and there are players everywhere, including a double stack pushing up through Secret that no one is ready for. 7 on the board for G2. And my oh my, is this CT side looking great. Kenny is really starting to exert a bit of a presence in the server as well. Outside has just belonged to him round after round, whatever he's rotated in from this ramp hold. Reinvestment through for Astralis, not featuring a single AWP. There's not going to be anything on device to go toe-to-toe with Kenny without here outside, rather. Let's see, Hunter running the gauntlet, picks up the pace, and that is a huge kill to find. Man advantage taken. G2, they're looking so confident right now. What we often see, though, is a team can start like this.
Oh no,
that's a bit of a shame. He got team damaged. Amanek shot him coming through the smoke, and Nexa got all confused. Amanek now, you've got to make up for that. You've got to have a hold. You've got to do right by your team, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's delivering. Does put up 2, but it might not be enough. It's all on Jax now, and he's removed Magisk. They know that Zipex was last seen inside of this A bomb site. And so he is going to get the bomb planted. It's down to a 1v1. Jax versus Zipex. And Zipex so often a man that we can rely on in these clutches, and that continues to hold true for Astralis. A 3rd on the board. And a round going their way, finally, after a long hiatus away from victory here on the T side.
Yeah, a crucial round as well. And I mean, Amanek really puts up a hold, Harry. You ask him to do it, and he gets a double at least, but it didn't seem to be enough. Jax unable to close out the 1v1 versus Zip. And G2, at least they have all the money in the world, right? They had players on 12k coming into this round. So buy isn't a problem right now, but they don't want Astralis to build upon that one round win. Kenny is outside. He's so blind, but he's about to peek with the AWP. Dupree deletes him. Great shot from Dupree. Astralis running right down outside towards B. Nexa hears all of this, though. Hunter's already begun a rotation, and Jax is in the lower secret as well. This is a heavy setup for G2. A crossfire, in fact, to Jax. He has made them cross indeed. Hunter with another. Nexa on the flank. 3-on-2. Back up vent they go. Astralis want the A site, and it is open for the taking.
Bomb has been planted.
Oh, with Zipex up on top of the hut, this main position is a very, very tricky one to get back into for G2. Flash goes in, that's going to telegraph this is where they're looking to take. Dupree has this crossfire set up. Man does get up through the vents. That's Amanek, and he didn't spot Dupree back in the lobby. Zipex removing one, now falls back into the hut. This bomb planted, so they have to swing wide. They have to go into the site, and the mollies come in late. G2, they just stick the bomb. They win the round on the back of it, and even though Dupree gets all the kills, it's the stick for G2 that wins them the round. It's not every day that you see Astralis lose a round like that, and it's not every day that you see G2 prioritize defusing the bomb. So really, a 2-for-1 in this round.
Oh dear, and yeah, you can see the player that comes out of the hut as well. I think it was Zip. He checks close right, and you know, it doesn't feel important in the moment just to clear that corner, but if he didn't, he would have been out in the site faster. He may have even stopped that defuse from happening. So that 1 second check, it holds, you know, weight, and well, weighs down on the chest of Astralis. 3 rounds in this map. That is it. And a map down in the series as well. Dust 2, not a huge surprise to see G2 win it, right? Like, but Nuke, I mean, this is a whole different ball game right now. Good timing for Astralis. They catch Jax with a nade out. He has to drop with a Molotov. Kenny given room to peek, and he does fight with the AWP, dropping one. Amanek trades for a single kill, and Jax comes back up from the ramp. He's only here temporarily because it's a lobby fight that will get it all done. Hunter's mollied off the bomb, and now Jax can continue to wreak havoc, and G2 are just bringing aggression everywhere Astralis try and fight. G2 have 3 different crossfires. This has been such an excellent CT side, and Astralis have not had answers. Magisk, 1-on-3, got to do it all here. He doesn't even begin to know the whereabouts of G2. They're just going to peek him from the ramp and clean it up. 9 now, rather. I'm not giving them enough credit.
Plus, like, fair play to get confused, right? 9s are just 6s that are the other way up.
Yeah, upside down.
Call that a standing ovation, and that's what G2 deserve right now, okay? They are looking real good. Thank you very much, Hugo. Everyone always says that clapping down a microphone sounds great.
Yeah.
And that's encouraged. So let's see how this round goes. Jax has opened up with a kill onto Zipnix and taken the man advantage for G2. A 5-on-4 out of the gate up against this partial investment from Astralis. There's 4 smokes. That is more than to get you over outside. They're going to go ahead and throw these ones deep. These aren't the traditional, you know, full at red, go for the cross into secret smokes. These are the deeper ones that allow you this opportunity to either take garage, go secret, duck into main through the left of the smoke. They give you a lot more options, and with these pistols, I'm sure Astralis are going to appreciate the closer range. I never trust Kenny, man. I never trust him when they're crossing a smoke. I just... Ooh,
oh, he saw it.
Yeah, he did, but
it.
they just get down. They just got down secret. Luckily enough, Kenny gets that info for Nexa, and so he's no longer like waiting for a peek before he drops that smoke. He gets it down early, and now Astralis have got to go through it.
Oh, here they come. There's a second player in the vent as well. Nexus firing off, and he's connecting shots, but the flash is so good. Both players blinded. Hunter has to let them pass, but he can still stop them from getting the plant. That's if Jax doesn't do it first. He's already doubled up. Hunter opens the door, and Kenny closes the round. It's G2 all over the scoreboard, 10-3, storming through this game. And I don't understand what's going on. Like, this is a great match from G2, but Astralis have had really nothing to show us on this T side. I mean, losing Glaive, of course, is always going to be a problem. And these are those games where you maybe just don't have the answers, you don't have the solutions, your game plan isn't working, you haven't had back-to-back rounds. This is when you want Glaive back.
Yeah, and this is the thing. These are the situations that Astralis are going to have to get used to dealing with and adapt to dealing with Glaive's continued absence, and also, moving into like a 7-man roster project, right?
Now Astralis are playing on the same field as everyone else, right? Without like an auto AI generated in-game leader that just tells you where the enemies are playing.
Yeah.
Glaive's like, go B, okay, B's clear. But no, yeah, it's kind of mad.
No, man, and it's great as well because I think this 3-month period is really going to show people just how important having a good IGL and having like a refreshed IGL in particular can be for a team. Now, that's a nice lineup for Yugi. He's really done a lot of work in this round. Kind of just talking over it because this should be a 4th on the board for Astralis with the kills going down the way they did. And so Astralis get that 4th on the board. But yeah, it's great. I don't think there's ever been like an opportunity in this same way to like see how much one player can bring to a team. I think like the nearest example you could maybe even look at would be someone like almost recent, would maybe like a Stico in Mouse Sports back when they like took him in and out of that roster, right? Maybe there's like a link there, but with Glaive, he is still the IGL of this team. He is still coming back. And so for these 3 months, we get to see how Astralis would look without him, and are they able to adapt to reach a level near where they were, or maybe even go up beyond it, which seems wild to think of that being a possibility. And I'm not saying it would be, but it's going to be like a fun experiment to see what happens.
And not just with the fact that we get Glaive leaving this team and we get to see what Astralis are like without Glaive, we get to see what Astralis are like when Glaive comes back. Like, I imagine Glaive's not going to return to pro play until he's ready. And that's what we want. We don't want Glaive coming back until he's ready. And when he is ready, well, he could be bringing, a whole new level to Astralis, like you said. So, yeah, I think him coming back to the roster is such an exciting talking point. And obviously the questions of, well, where does Yugi go after that? Does he stay? Does someone buy him out? Is he going to prove himself in these 3 months? So many questions for Astralis, but let's get back to the game. It's a 4-on-3 at the end of the half, and Kenny, he wants to close it with 11. He might just be able to do so. This bomb is all that remains in the back of Yugi. He's walking into Kenny S, and Kenny doesn't miss. 11 rounds for G2 on the CT side of Nuke. This is one that Astralis looked like they had under lock and key, at least in theory, but it could be a G2-0. We'll find out. Hang out and join us after the break.
And as I said, your eyes, they're not deceiving you. 11-4 right now. G2 with a very, very big lead here. They are looking good moving into their T side of play.
Right.
And well, we just saw the Betway odds there, leaning in favor of the G2 squad, even more so, and I think justifiably so, perhaps unsurprisingly so. And it's a B-ramp play to kick it off. Clipnick's and Magic. Oh! Get out! Get out of ramp, G2! Astralis, they get it done in a matter of moments. Magis with 3, Device with a double, and that is the fastest pistol round I think I've ever seen. My word. That is madness.
If Astralis were ever going to pull a game back, Harry, I think that pistol round, that might be it. That might reinvigorate them. That might set them up. It certainly deletes some of this buffer, right? A full eco from G2 and a chance for Astralis to just basically start this half at 6-11. That's something. That's better than the first. Oh my, I'm reeling after those shots. Magisk and Device give us an absolute massacre. No other way of putting it. Grenades up silo do limited damage. G2 are looking for anything they can get in this round. They've spent $0 and likely will receive $0, other than the loss bonus, of course. I don't think Glock kills are an expectation of this round, with 3 rifles for Astralis and 2 SMGs to make it clean. And lucrative as well, don't get me wrong. Oh, okay, maybe there will be kills. Astralis is just swinging into the hands of G2. Magisk with a double. Device, same story, actually finds 3. It's Astralis taking the round with a single death. That's not a worry. Now G2 come in with guns, and it's the moment we've all been waiting for, Harry. 4 rounds on the T side for Astralis. Was that enough? Are G2 going to be able to find 5? That's what they need.
Gonna go ahead and try and deny these outside smokes with this molly, and that has left him a little gap, but G2, they're not ready to give an edge like that to Astralis. They throw a 3rd smoke down, and that's going to enable the cross. Device will put up 1, but Jax comes in with the response, and we're into this 4-on-4. Now it's like a bit of an awkward nether zone over here towards outside. No one's like really sure how they want to play this, and Astralis, they'll try and regain control. They try and send a man up into heaven just to get the info, and the risk you run with that is exactly what's happened, and that is that he falls, and now this outside problem goes from bad to worse. It's no longer a problem that you don't know anything about. Now it's a problem you don't know anything about, and one that's actively getting worse. That much you do know. Amanek's going to set up over here in heaven, but he's not going to go peeking on in. Now, he does have the bomb. That's something to bear in mind here. This is going to kind of force G2 to have to commit to an upper play. Alternatively, they can try and get him out. He can throw the bomb down, and they could look to hit ramp. But I don't think G2 want to overcomplicate this very much. They're going to wait. They're going to bide their time. And now that they've rendezvoused over here in heaven, they're going to try and split this A-bomb site together.
The last G2 saw lower, there were 2 Astralis players in secret, and so that's why G2 want this top site, I can assume, right? The smoke nade combo that went down in the stairs area, it's not going to be the same now, though. Astralis come back into this top site, and to good effect, double kill from dupreeh, make it a 3rd and a 4th, just shut them all down, dupreeh, whatever. Forget counting. The numbers aren't interesting him, the kills certainly are. 7 rounds for Astralis, though. Building and building and building into this game, Harry. 3 in a row. And that's the thing, I can just never count them out. Like, no matter how good G2's T-side could or can be, it's Astralis on the other side, on the favored CT defense of Nuke. Like, this is going to be a hard half for G2, even if they are going to win it.
Device primed, ready, raring to go, but I say that, and then obviously he gets 1D. That's just going to fall into place, though. Continues to lay down the pain outside, and actually, as I say that, though, he does die immediately again. So I'm gonna stop saying players' names because then Jack seems to just kill them. Amanek now. Tempted it there. Just wanted to see if I could get it to work again. But no, apparently not. Let's see, Astralis, they're going to send dupreeh up through lower. Cool head on his shoulders and an AK in hand. Jax, please don't ruin this one for me. I've set it up. Everything's here. It might all fall into place. And Dupree trying to catch wind of what's going down outside. But somehow they've all gone by each other. They have missed each other like ships in the night. And my word, now they go down secret. And Astralis don't know. They have no idea. This is where Dupree just came from. He just cleared outside. This is not telegraphed. There's no way that you know this is happening if you're Astralis. And so this B site can just have a bomb plant go down, no problem. And G2 can start setting up for a 3-on-3 in the post plant.
It's insane how close that timing was. It wasn't the fact that they were just hiding behind the box. They were walking as Dupree was, and they were like circling round and around the red box, around that object, and just not getting to see each other. Crazy stuff. They don't know how close they got either, but they will get a bomb plant on this B site. Zipex looks to burn the player out from the position, and he will do so, getting the kill on Nexa. No cover for G2, and I'm surprised at that. I feel like Amanek definitely could have tried to help his teammate out there. Instead, it's Jackson lower. Oh, little dig from him. Amanek follows up. He's killed that ramp player. Yugi in a clutch that has to be fast. He sees the legs, but it's the head that gets removed. Jax has looked incredible in the T side. Not just a big opening kill on Device into the yard in their first rifle round, but right there, 4 kills. Big openers. Bang, bang, gets a rifle, closes out the round. So excellent work from Jax. Makes it happen for G2 on a low economy round, on one that Astralis should have, certainly had. And yeah, hey, maybe his grenades aren't good, his flashes are. Well, his kills also, as he entries G2 to a 12th round and breaks Astralis' money early. I think that's probably the biggest detail, right? If Astralis found that rifle round and then took the anti-eco and then, started to build and took a few rounds and cleanly as well as they were, Astralis would have loads of money and G2 would be constantly having to win, 2 or 3 rifle rounds to break that economy. That's what can be so hard on the T side. But because Astralis didn't take a strong lead, they only took 3 rounds, and they lose to an eco, well, they're broke now. And this means G2, it's only going to take a couple of rifle rounds to potentially win this series 2-0.
Oh, fast A play, and Yugi not ready at all. He gets blindsided. It's Kenny with the double opener, and it might just have to be the save already out of the gate. Hugo, you're bang on. That threat now becomes even more real, as Astralis just have to go and forego this round. 30 now on the board for G2. No money left for Astralis. And that grim picture you painted looks like it could become a reality if G2 keep this up.
Sneaking out the lobby and 5 alive for G2. It's certainly a fast A play that will leave Astralis wondering. No Molotovs to throw down in that hut, or at least none were thrown down in the hut. They had one on Zipex and they'll save it as well, but not in the right position to do so. And if you don't get those mollies down, well, look, Kenny just runs out the hut with no issue, no contest, and 2 kills on the Max 10, just darting around the back of the site to put G2 3 rounds away from a victory here in this group. Now, it is worth noting that, yes, this is a group stage game. 3 out of 4 of the teams here in each group go through, and Astralis is still holding 2-0. They are still top of the group. Even if G2 win this, Astralis are... It's not the end of the road. Like, they're still at the top of the group, right? In head-to-head, they'll lose and they'll come second, but... it's not like this is anything close to elimination for either of these teams. At least not for Astralis. G2, this kind of is a must-win, and... With North already out of the picture, G2 want to get as high as they can inside of this group. Kenny opening up into the door. Ooh, Yugi's got a tap, and he's finished off the job on Nexus, started by Device, but, I mean, this round is coming to a close already, unless someone could do something incredible. Device trying to stop Kenny. Hunter's going to go through the hut, though, as he fires his shot, and Zip is very loud on the ladder. That's no surprise. Hunter with a double, and G2 with 14. This is looking like easy for them, Harry. There's nothing getting in the way of G2, but this one rifle round for Astralis.
Yeah, so this is either where the Danes really do just kick it up a notch and start to grind their way back in, or this is where the series could just draw to a close with G2 taking it in a 2-0 fashion. Let's see which one of those realities we end up living in. early on. Some outside presence, but the bulk of G2 here in lobby.
Wow.
They hold for the push, and Kenny primed and ready to go. He's pretty much already done enough in this round, and that's scary. You try and lobby crunch, you try and hit them where it hurts the most, and okay, well, all right, Magisk, you know what? I was trying to do this whole doom and gloom angle, but actually, he might have just saved the day. Yugi coming in with another. And now we're into this 2-on-2. Magisk has salvaged this round, and Device with 5 points of health finding that kill has now made it look like a real possibility here. Amanek with 100 HP. He does have that going his way at the very, very least. But the bomb not in his possession. And both of these players, nothing more than question marks. They knew where they were earlier, but that has changed since. And Amanek does manage to deal with the first. Device, 5 points of health to try and keep the dream alive for Astralis.
Oh, no. He could wallbang him.
Heck realizes he doesn't want the UMP. Device has been so good in these clutch situations for Astralis, and that needs to continue now more than ever. Amanek needs to land but one bullet. Might elect to not even have to give that a go. He drops a smoke on the bomb. Device is trying to play a little one-way, and just about. Device so close, but not close enough. It's Amanek securing the 1v2. Match and series point for G2. Loaded in the chamber. And just 5 kills away from firing it off and taking this series over Astralis 2-0.
That would be mad, wouldn't it? Like, you know, G2, who just got absolutely dumpstered by Astralis the other day in the final of RTR. Like, they got, what, 6 rounds on Nuke by the end of things? This is nothing like that game. They got 8 rounds in a best of 5, Harry. 8 rounds in a best of 5. And right now, Astralis might just fall to them.
Yeah, and you know, obviously it's with the caveat that Glaive isn't here and that Yugi's standing in, but it's like, you know, I think it's such a cool thing to look at because you think about how one-sided and how dominant that best of 5 grand final was. Once again, bit of a caveat by that in that it was like more of a best of 4, but still, you know, 8 rounds across the entire thing for G2. This just shows how important a man like Glaive is to this squad and how the IGL role is not something that you can just pick up and dominate with overnight.
Yeah, but G2...
Still, I think this is like an important, you know, growing time for Astralis. This is, you know, and they didn't come into this event saying, oh man, we're still going to be sick. We're still going to be beating everyone. They knew it was going to be hard. They knew it was going to be a challenge. And, well, this series just serves as a testament to how big a challenge it might end up being.
One final shot, one final chance for Astralis here. Magisk has at least found one, but it's a double opener towards B. G2 are going to go back up the vent towards A. I love this. They do it all the time. What a great call. They know Astralis are double stacked. They've seen Magisk and B, and Zip was there as well, although they weren't aware. It was the guessing game, and G2 will guess right. 20 seconds, the bomb planted, and Astralis a 2-on-4 to retake against match point. G2 about to 2-0 Astralis, even dominantly on Astralis' map pick as well, right? To think the Dust 2 was 13 rounds for Astralis, all for this to happen. Jax, a kill away. Magisk might give it to them. Nice shot on the scout, but a 1-on-4 is not going to accomplish. Jax will close it out, and G2 take the victory 2-0.
Yeah, and dominantly as well. G2 firing on all cylinders today, and what a performance from them. You know, they take this opportunity to play versus a slightly different looking Astralis, and they come out swinging. They take it 2-0. As you say, we never even get to see Vertigo, which I personally am kind of devastated about, honestly. But if the consequence of that is G2 looking good and setting us up for a very exciting event here from them, then I'll take it. I'll take that trade-off.
Yeah, and now we move forward, right? That's our second BO3 of the day done. We move on to the NA side of things. Liquid Furia is our next matchup, but before that, we do have the analyst there, so stick around. You get to hear from the winners, the losers, and of course, Trace and the guys over there, so we'll see you later.
The craziest scenes that you could possibly think of course, that being Astralis with a 2-0 over G2. And, of course, they do a 16-13 on G2's map pick there of Dust 2, also followed by Nuke, 16-7. So easy in the camp of G2. I'm joined by Pimp, and I'm joined by Bled, and they've got some words to say about it as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what we expected. Astralis coming in here just absolutely demolishing, G2, who are currently not playing some great Counter-Strike. I don't know about you, Bled, but quite as we expected, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like they didn't even feel the need of Glaive being in the server. It's completely demolishing the French-Serbian Bosnian lineup. So Danish CS strike again, no surprises there.
No surprises, but seriously, what the freak just happened? How have G2 2-0'd that of Astralis? What just happened? Pimp, diagnose this one. You're the closest that we have to a Dane on the desk.
You know what? They absolutely deserved it. Let me say that first and foremost. I think the Dust 2 performance was a classic. It was going back and forth. It was Astralis playing well, and it was G2 playing well. So that one we can take in and we can see, all right, G2, you had a game against Astralis. They were playing well, and you still were able to win it. So they deserve all the credit for that one. Nuke, though, I think I just got to say before we went into that game, right, we're going to see Nuke being played out by Astralis without Glaive, one of the best yard players in the world, without the caller who's going to call the T side, and with Yuki. I know Yuki is a great player. I know Yuki is probably going to do fine for Astralis, but communication and know-how in terms of rotation, in terms of team play on a map like Nuke is so vital. It took Astralis a long time to build up that synergy they have on Nuke, and we just saw it, got it absolutely dismantled by G2. So we didn't expect it. We were afraid of it to happen, I guess, and Astralis, this got to be a disappointing one, right? That was completely outclassed by G2.
Yeah, especially on that second map of the series. Bled, I'm going to let you get in here and get involved as well, but I think that it's about time that we bring on one of those victors, one of those holders of the big garage. Now, he might be a little bit of a secret down there, but his name is Nexa, and he knows just about every angle you could think of from outside. Congratulations, Nexa. Did you expect the 2-0 today?
Thank you, guys. Honestly, no, not really.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually have a question, right? Coming into this series, Pimp and I were talking about it. Pimp actually brought up, like, when it comes to your map pool, you've been looking a little shaky on the maps you're comfortable on. I know it's keeping all memes aside with a Dust 2 pick. We thought maybe Train would be a map that you guys might pick first, considering that Astralis are very, they're not very confident in that map. They don't have Glaive around. It's a new player coming in the form of Yuki. Why not Train? Why Dust 2?
We were considering it, but we played them twice, best of 5, best of 3 recently, and the only map we haven't played against them was Dust 2, so that was actually one of our stronger maps. So we just said, yeah, let's see how we square off against them on Dust 2.
Be honest with me right here, right? Because right now, G2, I think when you look at the results you guys have gotten the past few weeks, right, it's actually been looking okay. The second place in Road to Rio, not a bad result at all. Starting off this tournament a little bit sketchy, but now finding yourself as the first place in this group with Astralis. Result-wise, you guys are doing okay, but playing-wise, you guys are not up where you used to be. What is the big difference between you guys now and you guys in Katowice, where everything was seeming to click for you guys?
I think playing online, like, our individual level is all over the place. We are lacking consistency on this, and that's why you'll see sometimes we lose to North with a coach, with a stand-in, and then sometimes we'll do what we did now against Astralis. Like, we need to find this consistency where we're always, not like mad fragging, but making sure that you always get this, like, one important kill so we can close out the round.
How do you plan to find that consistency then? Like, are you doing something actively in order to facilitate that?
I don't really know. Like, as a team, I think it's more like about individuals making sure they feel comfortable playing online and, like, just being comfortable in their skin and on the server as well.
All right. I do have a very quick question as well, which Malik had mentioned about the comms being an issue for you guys when the going gets tough, right? Obviously, sometimes the language barrier and whatnot. Is that even worse now because it's all online?
Yeah, there are situations where, like, we all kind of panic. We are lacking experience in this aspect, and the guys who are not naturally speaking, like, good English, they always try to express themselves as, like, fastest and loudest as they can, which sometimes, like, ends up creating chaos on TeamSpeak.
Yeah, and it can kind of make for situations like we have right here, where sometimes we don't know exactly who's trying to talk over somebody else. It creates a really weird dynamic But I want to talk about the dynamic that is Nuke just a couple of days ago to now, and how you go from no T rounds to just closing out a game on the T side. What was it that you guys put together there in terms of a game plan to take on Astralis, who obviously had your number the other day?
Like honestly, I think they were just missing Glaive. Glaive is like instrumental to their Nuke and the things he does outside and in secret with the smokes, and just like drawing attention to himself. He was, I think he's the best in the world in this, and once they lost it, it was like just easier to read them and be stacked on proper bomb sites.
But did you get a little sweaty when that pistol round happened, when that second pistol came through and it just happened so fast no one even knew that the round had started and ended?
I was the last guy there, and 3 guys were in front of me, and in 1 second they were all dead. I had no idea what happened.
It's like one of those rounds, like how do you even get mad about that, right? Like it's just so fast, it's so furious. It's wild scenes. But anyway, congratulations. Next, so we're going to let you go, I guess, celebrate how G2 celebrates. I've seen how you guys do it after parties, and I'm talking about Ocelot. That guy's a character. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you guys for having me.
Cool. All right. So Bled, Pimp, what are we thinking? How do we diagnose it now that we've talked and heard from the G2 side?
I think, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
All right.
No, you go ahead. No,
you go ahead. Take it.
Why don't you go ahead?
Be quiet.
No, but Jacob, just go ahead, man.
I feel like this is how the comms usually are in G2.
Yeah,
to be
basically,
honest.
yeah.
But, I feel like that they seem to have a very good understanding as to like, yeah, it's not like it's a combination of them overperforming. They had a good game plan in mind, and of course they were feeling comfortable. The players are popping off. It was unbridled aggression coming out from them, but they also know Glaive's absence on that Nuke map just kind of like allowed Astralis to disintegrate, especially in the CT side. So good for them, from a point where they almost seemed to get knocked out from the group in the last place just because of a bomb defusal. Now they come on top of the group, so I guess they'll take it considering how battered they've been feeling of late.
Yeah, I'm glad Nex got to mention it, right? The absence of Glaive, I think that's instrumental. It's not Yuki's fault that he's not Glaive, right? You're bringing in an AWP player to replace the best in-game leader in the world, to replace a guy that is always, as Nex has said, drags attention towards him. He's one of the best outside yard players, and he's so instrumental in the way that he calls on the T side on Nuke as well. I don't blame Magix, I don't blame Yuki, I don't blame anyone for this loss, but it is maybe the reality that Astralis is facing right now, that some maps are going to be good for them, and some maps are going to be tougher to implement Yuki in that playstyle.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I can sympathize with that, moreover, which is why we start to take a look at the groups as a whole. We now have the results of the group. We know who the big dogs are. Perhaps one of you guys want to take the reins on this one. Blade, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there was a world where, anything could have really happened. There was a world where it could have been a 3-way tie at the bottom with Astralis coming out on top. And I'll be honest, I think all of us expected Astralis to go 3-0. But with this happening, G2 plays first, even though they're the same points as Astralis, because if it is a 2-way tie, it's going to be a head-to-head matchup, right? Which is going to be considered. So G2 beating Astralis puts them in the first spot. And Heroic and North, you can see clearly there, they have the same win-loss record. But Heroic winning that match against North today ensures that they go above them. So there you have it, G2 going to the playoffs in the upper brackets. In the meantime, Astralis is going to be in the lower brackets alongside Heroic. And that's scary though, because Astralis, bear in mind, even despite today's loss, they can definitely be a force to be reckoned with.
And just to add a little context to what Blair is saying right here, had G2 lost to Heroic yesterday, they would have been out already before today. Even if they would have won against Astralis, they would have been out of the tournament. They would have been placed in that 4th place. Now they find themselves as the victories, and that was all down to the fact that Nico didn't pick up a kit in that game against G2 the other day. So it's a group that was super, super close. I think a lot closer than expected, but also a very exciting group. And I'm glad we get to see both Astralis, G2, and Heroic play again. North, it was looking all right the first day, but apart from that, didn't really bring anything to the table.
Nothing really kind of sparked your interest there in terms of where Danish Counter-Strike is heading. Jacob, do you want to tell us a little bit how you feel and what you're thinking in this moment? Where's the heart of Danish Counter-Strike?
I mean, if you, I think I can say with one sentence that North probably right now is the 5th best Danish team.
Yikes.
Who's the fourth?
Let's just calm down. Nobody go to the races just yet. Jacob, explain yourself, please.
I mean, obviously Astralis is number 1. I think Mad Lions have deserved that 2nd spot, being very consistent as of lately. Copenhagen Flames, they were looking super, super solid in Road to Rio, and I think Heroic have always shown now that even with their new stand-in, their new player, they're already looking better than North. And to be fair, it's a very close call, but if I had to rank them, I'd say that North is the 5th best Danish team, which is ridiculous to think about when they're sitting in there in Parken and actually have some of the best facilities in the world. So I hope for North they step it up, and I hope they find the groove. We have seen some positive signs coming out for them, especially AC, a superstar, maybe returning to his form. But apart from that, nothing really sparks my interest at the moment.
Well, Bled, let me hold on. We'll get back to that. Trust me, that is certainly a conversation. Maybe the next guy has a couple of things to say about. We're gonna go ahead and bring in Device. Hello, can you hear us, Device?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can't hear you. It's always a good thing for us to run one of those comm checks, I think. Listen, man, tough day in the office. I feel like we get to chat every other day. So at least on this one, things shaped up probably not how you were expecting. Things looked a little bit more wonky there. Talk to me about Nuke.
Yeah, I guess that it's no secret that we haven't really practiced that much with Jacob, and like our expectations for the group stage here was basically just to go through to the playoffs. We literally didn't have any practice after the road to Rio. So yeah, I think overall we have to be satisfied with the result. I think that today we didn't really show our best game. We lost a lot of eco rounds. I know for myself I didn't play as well as I wanted to, and I know that we have some problems because we haven't had time enough to show Jacob all of our stuff, that we are relying a little bit more on the individual level, and I think that has worked out in the 2 previous games, but today we just got outclassed a little bit in that regard.
It's not a secret that it's very easy for us analysts to overanalyze stuff sometimes. How big of a problem would you say it is that the absence of Glaive came into play on Nuke, right? We know him to be a very versatile player. We know him to be very aggressive towards Yard. Obviously, Yugi is not the same type. Is Glaive missing a lot of Nuke as it is right now?
I guess that this was our first Nuke, if I remember correctly. So I think that Magisk is filling his role, as you probably saw. And yeah, me and Glaive have been playing that position together for a long time, especially on the CT side. So, I mean, like, of course, it's a big absence, and I think, especially here in the beginning, I think that we really feel that we miss him, right? And we need him a little bit on the server, but it's also an issue that comes from not having time enough to prepare Jacob well enough. And as you said, it's a different player. We're trying to see how everything will fit in, and which spots Jacob is going to play, which spots Emil gonna change to.
Brings me to the next question. Sorry, just to round it up here. You personally have been playing pretty well the past week, I'd say, maybe the past 2 weeks as well. You had a rough start to the online circuit, I'd say, but you're getting there. Glaive's absent. Does that free more space for you? Are you allowed to take more chances, more risk than you were initially, or is it just a coincidence that you're finding your form right now?
I think it's more a coincidence. I think playing with Glaive as well, it was easier for me to take chances because we've been playing together, as I said, with this lineup at least for 2 years and some months. So we know each other in and out. I know the tendencies. We don't really have to communicate that much, and right now we really have to communicate everything we do. So I would say it was probably easier. If it allows me to take some more risk, probably, but I'm not sure I'm using that. I want to play on the same fundamentals that we've always played on.
All right.
When it comes to the to like today's performance, right? Obviously, it's a disappointing loss and all of that. But considering you were guaranteed to go through to the playoffs after winning yesterday, did that kind of maybe mentally affect you guys a little bit? Maybe you guys were like, not really going all out today. Also allowed you to go for the Nuke pick, which you haven't really played with Yugi earlier. Did that allow you the freedom to go for a more loose place, so to speak, today?
Mentally, I wouldn't say that we were at a disadvantage. I think that G2 knew they had to beat us, right? Not going through, but they knew they had to beat us to get a mental advantage coming through to the next game. So I think they had more on the line for sure. I think it's the PC almost fell down. Anyways,
be careful, man.
As I said, I think that it was a game that mattered maybe a little bit more for G2, and also they got the first place in the group. I think that it's just tough right now. It's tough for us as players. There's a lot of fatigue, and as you saw, Glaive, which is one of my best friends, is out of the server. So we're just trying to do our best, and I think that we can be satisfied overall, as you said. But of course, we're going to be disappointed when we lose.
So, I mean, we've ran into this scenario before where, players have left a long time standing roster. Device, is it something, and be honest, is it something where you even kind of miss his voice in a way? Like he's just absent, something
sure.
that's been there, kind of like a guiding hand almost. It's kind of been there that whole time. I imagine a weird one.
I mean, for us, especially me, Seb, Glaive, also Magisk, we've been together for a long time, right? So Usually, just the thought of not playing together with a teammate is kind of tough. So yeah, of course you miss him. I guess, as you said, left the team. It's not really the truth. He is just burned out, right? He's gonna come back to the team for sure. That's the plan, right? So you never know how stress impacts a player and a person. So we're just hoping for the best, right? And I know for myself, it was really tough to come back. So yeah, of course we miss him, and hopefully we can put on a show that he can watch when he's trying to rest.
When he's trying to get his relaxation on. Hey, I've got one last one for you. I promise we'll let you go, Debbie. I swear to you. But my question is more so about the future, right? If we look at what Astralis is doing, and you guys are building depth in a lineup, right? Let's just say things continue online like this. Is it possible that Astralis would be ahead of the curve, being able to play, you know, this player this day, this player this day? Or do you see it kind of evolving that way? Do you see it maturing that way, maybe?
There's a lot of opportunities. We don't really know like 100% which way we're gonna go with it. Right now, as you said, there's a lot of games, so it could be a really like big advantage to actually sit out players at different tournaments to be prepared for the right tournaments. But you also have to consider that you lose major points if you change too much, stuff like that. So we're just trying to figure out how we can use the rules that are in place currently, right? Because there's no team doing this. So we kind of have to figure out ourselves and kind of go like be the first movers, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And honestly, I'm enjoying watching that evolution outside. So thank you very much for your time, Device. Commiseration. Sorry for your loss to G2. I guess these things happen.
See you guys.
Adios. All right. So we've got Device out of here. We'll continue on with the show. That was pretty informative. What'd you think, Jacob? What'd you think, Blair?
Yeah, I guess it is informative. I mean, I think he's spot on when he's saying that this is a problem we've had for a long time. You know, I can even attest to some of the players I played with in 2015, 16, maybe even before that they could have used a break if it was possible. I think it's very interesting when he's saying that he's trying, Astralis as an organization and as a team, is trying to deal with the rules they have right now, right? There's so much going on within the scene. Astralis are first movers, of course. Are the tournaments going to follow up with different rules so they can allow Astralis and potential new teams to do the same thing? We don't really know what the landscape is right now. We can just wait and follow the progress. So it is very much interesting to follow. And I think Astralis is onto something when they at least have one, potentially two players that can step in when a guy like Device, when a guy like Glaber, when a guy like Sipnik for that matter, needs a break.
What do you think, Blair? Where do you think?
I agree.
Where do we stand?
I agree with it. I agree with him there, where it's like, I don't think they know, obviously I don't think Astralis can know 100% all the repercussions and what can really happen with a 7-man roster, right? They are taking a very bold step into a concept which has been in Counter-Strike for a very long time, and it's not really worked on out. But if there's one org who has the right system in place, the right people behind the team, like you have someone like Zonic, I mean, Jesus Christ, what more do you want? You have the entire infrastructure of Astralis behind the org. And this is, I feel like a low-risk testing ground, so to speak, for the system, with Yugi coming in. And it's a perfect time. Glaive, he's a little burned out. You just won the road to Rio. You got the RMR points. You have a little bit of a lighter period of Counter-Strike games where it's not too much at stake. And then you have the player break. So this is the ideal time, in my opinion, to try out this 7-player system they have here. And I think a lot of teams are going to be keeping an eye on how this plays out for Astralis. And that might actually dictate the future of Counter-Strike rosters down the line.
It certainly will, and that's kind of what I was hinting at there with Device. Now, what we should do is pick up on Group A once more, just to kind of close this one out completely and show everyone where we stand at the end of the day. I think it's pretty apparent as to who wins the group. What do you guys think?
Yeah, as before, it's very interesting, right? G2, they probably should have been out before they even played today against Astralis, and now they end up winning the entire group. To those of you who didn't see it, you can probably head in and watch a VOD of that game. G2 playing against Heroic. Honestly speaking, there was no way G2 should have won that. Heroic messed up massively in the last and final map on Mirage, so go watch that one for yourself. Had Heroic not done that, G2 would have been out, even with a victory against Astralis. So it's a very close, very interesting group, but at the end of the day, G2 ends up as number one, and I think they deserve it, right? The display they put on today against Astralis was very strong.
So you're saying Astralis, Heroic, anyone else than North, right? Is that kind of what we're going with?
I think if you had to do a power ranking right now in Danish Counter-Strike, I would put Astralis as number one. I'd put Mad Lions as number two. I'd put Copenhagen Flames, Heroic, third, fourth, I don't know. And then the fifth place, you know, North can fight for that one, who, I don't know, with whoever is down there.
Just
whoever is down there.
Just wanted to know. Anyway, Motorhead, you got any more for us, or should I get us out of here? What do you think?
I can give you an ace of spades if you want, but I think for G2, honestly, they're going to be thanking the stars, right? That it came out first. Forget coming out first. They managed to qualify in a group where Astralis had a stand-in, North have a stand-in, and Heroic are just pretty much a brand new team looking to make a statement. So I think they got given an opportunity, a small little, Lady Luck smiling down on them yesterday, and they grabbed onto it and they came out in first. So congratulations to them. And I agree with Pimp. I call you Pomp. Almost
Pomp.
there.
I can
I don't know what a
understand.
pomp. I don't even know what pomp
Potter
means.
pimp. It's like a Potter Pimp, like hybrid sort of thing.
I want to see that happen once. But yeah, on the desk.
No.
No. Here's
Don't
what I
shoot
think. Here's what I actually think, Play. Here's what we're gonna try to steer this towards a real rapid fire for you two. 3, 2, 1. Liquid, Furia.
Furia.
Jacob.
Oh, you want me to? Well, Liquid.
Oh my goodness, you guys are killing me. We gotta go. We're gonna come back here shortly. It's gonna be about an hour's time before we jump into Liquid Furia, the next game here at DreamHack Master Spring 2020. We will see you all there. Make sure you don't miss us. We'll be right back then.